video store is open. We are back. We have found seven employees, to help us with running the store. My name is Eli. I'm one of the co-owners and co-hosts of Top Shelf Video.
And that would make me the other brother, Jaime, and also a co-owner of Top Shelf Video.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Before we start talking about this movie, I know we recently talked about Time Bandits, and
yes.
There were a couple things that I was kind of interested about, and it's kind of funny because it sounds like you and I both went down the rabbit hole of like curious about some of the either making of or sort of the history kind of behind it, and you probably also did some YouTube like rabbit hole chasing. But the one thing I was going to tell you, because we were talking about, they just don't make movies like this anymore, and then I think I mentioned to you that they did make a TV series on Apple TV, and so I was really curious, and I've watched about 3 episodes in. And they're not even hour-long episodes. Each episode is roughly about, I'd say about 40 minutes. Well, except for the first one. I think the first one's actually a little bit longer, and then the rest of them seem to be about 30 to 40 minutes.
Sure.
I think maybe...
I'm sure that's because they were explaining shit, right?
Yeah, as expected, they're doing exactly what I thought they were going to do, which I knew was going to drive me a little nuts. But I will say, like... It actually, because Denise was watching it with me, and it is intriguing. Like it's funny because they are treating it. I don't know if you ever saw that series, What We Do in the Shadows, but I'm a big fan of. So that was a movie. What We Do in the Shadows was like a mockumentary sort of type of movie where it's about vampires, but it's filmed in a way like kind of like The Office or whatever. And it's like that guy Taika Waititi, and then also like the guy from Flight of the Condors, and so like they're all like those New Zealand guys, and it's really funny because they try to treat it like, oh, this is like very matter of fact, and it's just like the life they live, and then that's what the TV show ended up being, and it actually worked pretty well. At least I think people who liked the movie, but so I thought that. As far as like this would go, I was curious because I know that style was kind of there, but as I anticipated, like there's a lot of over explaining of what is happening. But what I will say though is like the flavor of the comedy from Taika Waititi, it carries over. So it actually has like kind of a funny, like loose style to it. And because they're shorter episodes, it's kind of fun because at least thus far, they're kind of tying it that each episode is going to be like a different like location,
a different quest or something.
Yeah. Like they've already gone to where the Mayans were, and that was pretty funny. And then and funny, but also like science fictiony because it's kind of funny because the one person I did not expect to be in the show is like Lisa Kudrow from like Friends, the blonde girl.
Yeah.
And she's she's the Phoebe. Main pirate, I guess, or the main like
she's like the Randall of the group.
Yeah. She's like the Randall of the group. And she plays like that very smarmy sort of character that she plays like in Romeo and Michelle and these other movies. So from that standpoint, it actually kind of works. And it was funny because Denise was like watching it and she's like, this is actually too bad. She's like, is the movie like this? And I was like, I will say that the base of the movie is like this, but this is very different only in that it's the same premise. Like they're trying to like evil is trying to get the map so the map can do, or so that they can control things. And then there is like the supreme being, which actually is Taika Waititi. And
of course.
That whole thing it's pretty funny, and it's kind of a bummer because it seems like it would have been good. They still treat it like a kid show, like it's kid oriented. So there's not like a lot of cussing or a lot of this or that. So it's kind of like family friendly in a way. And I think that's kind of cool. They do lean a lot into the history or like the historical civilizations because the kid is a history nerd, which is kind of funny. And it plays into the whole, like every time they run into like a snafu wherever they go, the kid is such a history nerd. He's like, wow, the Mayans would sacrifice people. And then they're like, wait, what? Like, and so like it kind of adds like that comedy flavor. So it's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
not too bad, but in reading why it was canceled, they just said it was too expensive to make that show. And
Oh
it
shit.
it kind of looks like it's pretty well done, and it probably was just maybe too expensive for them to be like,
Right. So the return on investment wasn't enough.
yeah, that they just kind of cancel it.
Wow.
So
sucks.
I'll probably finish out the season since there won't be a second season. But I will say,
Yeah.
like, you would maybe find some interest in it, or like,
Yeah, I'll check it out. I mean, I'm a fan of Taika,
yeah,
his stuff, and Lisa Kudrow
Lisa
was.
Kudrow,
I mean,
yeah.
She's funny. She's funny. Yeah.
yeah. I was kind of surprised
I can
that
work with
it,
that.
it actually kind of was working out. And then as I read some other things, I was like, oh yeah, this could actually be kind of cool. Like so,
Yeah.
I like I said, it still misses that to me that I don't know the mystery to it all, and I guess there's over explaining because I don't know. I guess just younger people have to have stuff explained to them a lot more in depth than what we were used to, right? It's
Yeah.
but yeah. What did you end up chasing down? I know you went down a couple rabbit holes yourself of Time Bandits.
Yeah, actually, as of the time of this recording, it's still in transit. But I found out that there was actually a Time Bandits comic that came out, and I got my hands on the first print, so it's on its way.
Like
to
in the
get mounted on
'90s
my
or
wall.
'90s, 2000s, or when? Mm-hmm. What like?
Man, you caught me off guard. I wasn't.
Well, no, I just because I know like obviously there was like a comic book like revamp or renaissance in the
Right.
early 2000s when comic book stores were like thriving. Because I remember I used to go to the comic book store back when I was working at my first job. We would go every Tuesday.
Yeah, no, I got my hands on a first print. That's from 1982.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was Marvel put it up.
Oh, interesting. Now I'm like super intrigued because that would have been
Yeah.
prime time when we were like reading our comics, like X-Men and
Oh yeah. That was it. When it was still $1.
yeah.
On the on the
It
cover.
actually
It was
said
a,
on the
you
cover,
know,
or 75 cents in
Yeah.
some cases.
Yeah, 75 cents was like all the GI Joes and stuff. I went flipping through that stuff because I mounted some of the better looking artwork on my wall, but I have a spot saved for the Time Bandits comic that's on its way.
Yeah. Well, and now we also now have like a VHS copy for the video store, thanks to
Yes.
your I guess online research and finding an online copy, which I did not have a copy. I think I had mentioned to you I had a copy of Ice Pirates, and I would always get Ice Pirates and Time Bandits confused. Mostly just I guess the outfits and things like that. Yeah, that was a little bit of a chase down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to kind of revisit that. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And then, I found a good deal on a VHS tape, so I had that sent to you.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of feel like much like the movie we're going to talk about today. I think in a similar way to how Time Bandits was very, I don't know. It was just kind of like there it is. The movie just kind of went, and then it was like you're just into it and you're going to accept it or not.
Oh yeah,
I kind of feel
same start on this one.
Yeah, I feel very much that one with this movie. And after we recorded Time Bandits, I was like, what we need to revisit is like Battle Beyond the Stars. And
yeah,
man, I have to say, like, it's
another fun one
for the longest time. And yeah, this movie came out in 1980, so this is like within the huge takeoff of Star Wars and Star Trek, I guess, actually. But I remember, like, for the longest time, I remember seeing this movie, and then I could never remember the name. And if it wasn't for like the internet, the rise of the internet in the 2000s, I think I would have completely forgot about this movie because I wouldn't know what to look up. But I would remember the visuals of this movie very much because it was like the
ship.
Yeah, it was the Walmart version.
The ship was a character in itself.
Yeah. It was the off-brand Walmart version of Star Wars. Like in a lot of ways, like just from like the visual effects, the title, the ships, like
Yeah.
all that stuff.
The farm boy.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
The main guy. I mean, they got a guy to look like
Yeah.
exactly like
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker.
Young Luke Skywalker.
As
Yeah,
close
that
as they
was-
could get. Yeah, to getting somebody to look like Luke Skywalker. So I was curious, and again, somewhat disappointed that the Psychotronic video
Not
guide.
in there?
No, it doesn't have this one either. It has. I was taking a look here.
What?
So we have. Let's see here. Battle of Love's Return, the Battle Force, Battle Flag, Battle of the Amazons, Battle of the Bombs, Battle of the Commandos, Battle of the Mods, Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, there's no Battle Beyond the Stars, which is kind of a bummer. But
Huh.
yeah, I guess so. If we just kind of go with what IMDb has listed, it just says a farm boy recruits a band of outlaws to save his planet Akir from dark forces that threaten to wipe them out in the face from the face of the universe. A battle stretching beyond the stars begins here. So yeah, 1980, and I guess what this is most famously, or I wouldn't say famously known for, but because this was directed by Jimmy McKierman,
Murakami?
yeah, who I know was or directed part of Heavy Metal is probably like his biggest thing, but it does say that the uncredited director, but also the producer, like is Roger Corman. And it's kind of funny because I it wasn't until I got much older that I understand who and what Roger Corman was. Like Roger Corman, as much as like Canon Films for us was a huge part of our childhood because we had the logo recognition. I don't think like as younger people we were more drawn to the visual of what a logo would look like than we probably would the name Roger Corman. Like his movies influenced a lot of what we ended up growing up with, and he is credited for probably producing more Hollywood talent than anybody. I mean, actually, I think it's just a fact. I don't even think that that's like like theory at this point. And
Right.
he only passed away last year at the age of 99. He lived and was working to the very end.
Wow.
And he was very famously known for like wanting to make movies on the cheap. Like cheap, not in the sense of like they need to be B movies or corny. It was more like they need to be made for low enough cost that we can get a return on investment. And he was
Sure.
like that was like a big part of it. Like he was so much of a salesman of like we need to have like women, we need to have boobs, we need to have monsters, we need to have like the things that attract people to the movies and have like entertainment for a good
Butts
time.
and seats.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. His goal was like if somebody pitched an idea to him, he's like, that sounds pretty good. We can make it for X amount of dollars, and that's going to get a lot of butts and seats. And then like it was kind of funny because I feel in some ways like I think in a lot of ways, and I deal with this a lot, which is like, it's a lot of times, you know, when you want to do a personal project and you're always like, I wish I had all the time in the world and all the money and all the resources to do whatever it is I want to do. And while that would be true, or in some cases, I feel like the restrictions that somebody like a Roger Corman would put on people, which is like, no, you can only use this amount of dollars. So get creative on how you want to use those dollars. You're only going to have so much time and you're only going to have so much, you know, whatever. Putting those restrictions on, I feel like a lot of times actually promotes like a
Creativity.
Yeah, because you have to,
Of course.
you have to problem solve, right? You have to like think about things in a different way. And it pushes people that are very creative to have to like work in a way that
Just
gives you
challenge them.
Yeah, because you have to have those deadlines. Like if you just say like, take however much time you want, like you're going to noodle on the things that probably don't matter to people like you and I who we're the butts in the seats, right? We just want good, like in the case of this movie, we just want, I mean, I would say Roger Corman like nailed this one from the standpoint of like, he was like, he saw Star Wars. He saw how much money Star Wars made. He's like, I just need some science fiction. I need some ships in space. I need, I need aliens,
some funky looking creatures,
and then like some lasers, and that's it. And I think like in his mind,
need a cool ship.
Yeah. And I think in his mind, and I think to the credit of creative people, he probably was like, oh, you can do like a 1950s, like a robot or like a monster with just like a foam head, and it'll be fine. But I think like what Star Wars did for somebody like Roger Corman was like it upped the stakes a lot. And it was like, well, while yes, people want to see cool space stuff, they want to see more like the visual quality has been pushed up to what he was used to doing. And it's kind of funny because I mean, we'll talk about it as this movie goes, but I feel like this movie in particular, because I've seen a lot of Roger Corman movies, but this one in particular almost feels like it's almost like a class project, and then like you can see it progressively getting better as like people understanding the techniques of what they needed to do to actually make it look cool like space. Because up to this point, everything prior to Star Wars, well, with the exception of 2001, like the 2001 probably has like some of the best like space stuff prior to Star Wars. But not in a way like it's very static, right? Like everything just kind of it's tricks using like a painting and things that are optical, so it looks cool because it's not flying through space. Whereas Star Wars introduced like actual like dogfighting in space,
like models flying,
yeah. And prior to that, it was always the ship on a string, and like they're just moving it. And like it just looks so generic. And that honestly was Roger Corman. Like that was like, he was like, that's good enough because it's a spaceship in space and people don't care. And then Star Wars came along and made it look real. And then Roger Corman was probably kind of like, well, if we get something close, but I don't need it to look that good. It's got to be just along those lines, but it doesn't need to be that good.
Yeah. So I just need the scene where they're traveling to like the next location.
Yeah, exactly. And, and we can do all these cuts for the space fight. Like we don't need to see all the cool stuff, which he was kind of wrong in that sense. Because you open Pandora's box with Star Wars. Like we now wanted to see that, right? Like we needed to see the dogfights in space, and
the dogfights and stuff.
That was now going to be the standard, and good for them. And I don't know if you looked at some of the cast in this, but like James Cameron worked on this as an art director and also as like a second unit director because he was a model maker and he knew a lot about this. And I wouldn't be surprised like if he was like friends with a lot of the dudes that were at ILM and they were probably talking about how you pull off these techniques, right? Because
right.
Well, I mean, we'll get to that in a little bit, but I don't know if you had noticed that he was credited for that, but did you notice the? I mean, I'm almost sure you did, but did you notice the music by the orchestra music for this?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't.
I missed out on that.
If you had to guess, based on like, because remember the opening sequence kind of has a very similar Star Wars feel, but it's got the flying like star field as you're kind of like, and then the credits kind of come up to the screen, but it has it's kind of funny. I'm surprised you didn't catch it, but this is another James Horner musical score, and in a lot of ways it sounds, at least for me, it sounds like Wrath of Khan, and it also sounds like Kroll. It has those same.
You're right. It has.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now that you're saying that, when you hear it, it sounds very Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it almost borderlines. Like I wonder how often they were like, "Hey, dude, like when you gonna get off
you
using
still got that track?
Yeah, you're still using the same sort of bits and pieces of what you wrote." Because I remember, I can't remember if Kroll came out before Wrath of Khan, but I mean those pieces are almost identical. Like it's almost like he pretty much just used that music because he was like, no one's going to watch this Kroll movie. And so I'll use this again in the Star Trek Wrath of Khan.
Right.
And maybe the same with this one, too. I mean, not to say that this one sounded a lot. I mean, it sounded similar, but it wasn't the exact same thing. But those big sweeping French horns and like that kind of, I don't know I forget the name of what you call that music, but like a very like momented movement that sort of like is like it's a driving music. So it's kind of like not like a march, but it's something along those lines, right? Where it's kind of like builds, because you're always like combat, or fighting, in space, and it kind of has those sort of feels to it. So
yeah. Now that you're saying that, I don't know how I missed that, but
yeah. Man, he was working a lot in the 80s, I guess. Like he was in a lot of our favorites, but yeah, I mean, it's funny because this movie is I mean, I will say, like, this movie is an hour and 44 minutes long. It is probably the shortest version of Seven Samurai. Like, because, like, this movie has been done multiple times. Like, if I think about it, I mean, Seven Samurai itself is, I think, about 3 hours. Roughly about 3 hours. I think the full theatrical cut is, like, 3 hours. But if you think of all the movies that have done the Seven Samurai, right, which is like the Magnificent Seven, which literally the same movie.
A Western.
Yeah, I want to say that one's about 2 hours plus. Three Amigos is actually Seven Samurai, except that there's only three of them instead of seven. But it's literally the same story, right?
The same premise.
And that's, I want to say,
Guns for Hire.
Yeah. What's the other one? A Bug's Life, the Pixar movie. That is Seven Samurai. If you've seen that one, right? That's one with the little ants.
I know of it.
Yeah.
I just remember bits and pieces because I think by the time that came out, my kids had kind of outgrown Disney and Pixar and all that stuff. So
and I was,
but I'm aware of it.
Yeah, I was super into Pixar at that age. Like, I guess because of the 3D modeling and animation of it all. But I remember seeing that, and that is also Seven Samurai. And those movies are all like roughly about 2 hour plus movies. This one's at an hour 45, probably the shortest of the Seven Samurai. Sort of like
interpretations.
Yeah, interpretations of. But it is just kind of funny because literally within the first like 10 minutes, it feels like they literally just get to the point of like, hey, these guys attacked the planet. We'll be back in 7 days, and we need to find some people to help us. Like, and that's it.
Yeah, they kill a couple of civilians, and then next thing you know, it's like, I got a ship, I can fly it, and I'll go find help. And he's gone.
And it's man, it is like, talk about having no fat. Like, this is as lean of storytelling as it gets. Like, I think like Denise had just come home from work, and she sat down. And she's like, wait, is this like Star Wars? And I was like, no, this is Seven Samurai. I was like, he's literally telling them right now that he'll go and find the mercenaries. And then he just left. Like, I mean, that whole conversation where he's like, they have a council of, which is weird because the council exists of like 3 people, and it was like the old man, the young person, and the younger woman. And that's the entire council. And then they were like, man, what are we going to do? And he's like, there's nothing we can do. And he's like, we got to find help. And the guy walks in and he's like, I'll find the help. And he's like, okay. And that's it. Like, I mean, it's right to the bone. But I will say, like, I'm kind of surprised, like, how well this sort of holds up, like, from the very beginning. Like, I can see why we love this as a kid. I mean, it's got the Star Destroyer, Star Wars, like, rip-off intro. And it's done pretty well. Like, I have to say.
It was a good looking model, whatever they used. I mean, it was, like, as soon as my first note, I was like, oh, Star Wars intro.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, because it's like, the long shot. I'm sure Corman was like, give me one of those.
Yeah.
And I'll take that.
Give me that. Like, just use their playbook. Like, because somehow it's attracting the kids. And
Yeah, all the way even to like the engines at the end. Like it like you do like the side view, and then it kind of pans. You like it flies out of frame, and you see like the back of it. I was waiting for like the space balls. I break for no one bumper sticker.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah, that model. I mean, the intro is. I was like, okay, yeah, I know why we enjoyed this.
Well, and it's kind of funny too, because like as we've gotten older, and like it's very obvious why we were attracted to this as a kid kids, and clearly it's because of the spaceships and space, because like all the stuff that happens on the ground whenever the actors are on stage, like that feels as low budget as it gets. Like it feels like I don't know, like a city.
Like a city play.
Yeah, like a city play. Like the outfits are just barely enough to pass as like alien, and not by much. Like, and so I thought that was kind of funny that that was something that I noticed quite a bit. And I was like, as a kid, we probably were like enough with the talking. Like, when are we gonna get back on the spaceship? And and so it's funny because if you look at the sets and you look at a lot of like the backgrounds and stuff like that, like they feel super cheap. And I feel like in this higher quality like version that we probably both watched like in HD or whatever, that really sticks out, like the backgrounds, but not in a bad way, just in the sense of like you can tell it's plaster, like with like you can tell it was just kind of put together really quick because the lighting really exposes it. But then when they show like the spaceships and the other stuff, like that stuff actually is pretty well composed together.
It looks good.
Yeah, like when it's in the cave, like the big ship, like he's walking out or whatever. Like they figured out some of those techniques pretty well, because I was like, wow, the lighting and everything like really works in these scenes, and it starts to sort of fall apart when they're in space itself. But again, like it almost feels like, based on what I was reading, was whoever the art director was on that they had, they either fired him or they weren't happy with what they were producing. And Cameron, being James Cameron, who, was a very like ambitious sort of person, it would not surprise me if he was like, just let me do this. I can do it. I know what I'm doing. And sort of like pushed his way into it, because the visuals in the beginning, like at least when they're flying through space, feels kind of like what I was describing earlier, of like it felt like they were just holding the spaceship up, and then they were just wiping the space behind it to make it look like it was moving. Because I was like, that don't look so good. I was like, is the whole movie going to be like this? But then as the movie goes on and you see like the actual ship moving, but then the camera's moving as well, and it gives it this sense of like reality. I was like, wow, that actually is pretty good. Like for a very low budget comparison to Star Wars. Man, I wish, I don't think there's a name for that ship, but I have to say, man, that ship design is really unique, and I can't say I've really seen anything like it even now. Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know who designed it, but yeah, it looks very feminine.
Well, yeah,
which makes sense, because the AI in the ship is Nell, a female.
Yeah, which I had forgotten about like completely.
Yeah, no, I did too. And I had a note on that, because I was like, I wonder if that was the inspiration for the AI in Flight of the Navigator. Kind of like this talk back to you and kind of
sassy,
because sassy, because this came out first, and then Navigator came out, I think 4 or 5 years later.
Oh yeah,
and so I had forgotten that the AI had an attitude.
I did too. Yeah,
like you said, like the sass.
Yeah,
and so I was like, huh. I was like, if you change that voice to Pee Wee Herman, I could see where. I guess I see the inspiration. So and so I don't know if I didn't look up who designed the ship, but the fact that it had a female AI running it, basically, I was like, okay, I could see why it looks like it has boobs.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny. I had kind of forgotten about the bottom boobs or whatever, but it is kind of funny because it is more like it's the one ship that has more curves, and It's not
Yeah.
very hard surface. Like it doesn't have a lot of like if this was like if we were doing this in school or making a model like this in school, this would actually be like your more advanced version because having like curved surfaces along with hard surfaces that meet up, like that's a hard technique to do. And that would still be hard
Yeah.
to do even like with the practical model that they built there. So this was like very well thought out. You know, it a lot of the
Yeah.
times you can tell, and I'm sure you've seen this in some of those other like behind the scenes sort of things too. Is like effectively like they start with a main piece of something that
Hmm.
is custom built, but then the rest of the greebles and the little bits and pieces are literally just from model kits. Like they just go and find World War II model kits and will take off like some of the parts of like the side of an engine from a whatever, and they just start slapping all that stuff on there to the point where
Right.
like they created the term greebling or greebles, which is just making up little squares and boxes and things like that they just kind of slap all
Right.
over. But this one's very like
Okay.
well thought. Like nothing doesn't feel
Yeah.
like it's slapped on. It actually feels very like like you were saying, the design of it is very well thought out. Because when you look at the enemy ships and even the big like cruiser ship that the enemy has, like that looks like it's
Yeah.
made of greebles. Like it's got a main core piece and then there's just a bunch of little
A bunch of shit on it.
yeah radars and stuff. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it gives it that sense of
Yeah.
scale. And I mean, all you're really trying to do at that point is you're just trying to get the light to break up the surface so that it it makes it look bigger and gigantic because like there's all
Yeah.
these shadows breaking up the surface because
Yeah.
like those are all
Yeah. It gives it a like reference points to
yeah
look at to help. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense because it helps. Because if you see a bunch of little stuff on it, and then they maybe put a little some lights in there to kind of
exactly.
simulate the windows, then the windows make you go, "Oh,
That's
that thing's
so
actually
far
this
away.
big."
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
And I think like this main ship is very well thought out. I mean, like from where the weapon systems are to like the glass where
Yeah.
he can see out and all that stuff. But yeah, it's just kind of funny because you can almost hear like Roger Corman being like, "No, it needs boobs. Like put some boobs on the bottom." Which, like I said,
Yeah,
I kind of forgot about
yeah,
that.
it's a female AI. It's got to be look like a female
Yeah.
or something, just
Yeah, for sure. And it also like on the poster, it's it's just kind of right there in front of you. But yeah, so like that's the one thing I will say. Like I just kind of wanted to touch on just a little bit more because I remember I was fortunate enough to meet like a model maker when I was out in San Francisco one time, and his name's like Fawn Davis, and he worked on Starship Troopers, and he worked on a lot. I mean, he worked on Star Wars as a model maker as well. Like he worked on the new the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Like he worked on those as a model maker, and I got to go
Nice.
to his model shop when we were up there because I had a mutual friend, and he was like, "Hey, if you want to." Like he's a super cool guy, and if you want to, meet up with him, like he'd be open to showing you around his shop. And so like we spent an afternoon there, and we were just talking because I'm more in I mean at the time I was an art lead and still making like a lot of 3D models and stuff like that, and he was like a more practical model, so we were having this like conversation about like how practical models and the CGI and how those things can merge together, and it doesn't have to be one or the other. And it was crazy because
Yeah.
when I walked in, there was a giant. This always bums me out because I had an iPhone at the time, and my iPhone got corrupted. And he let me take a couple pictures, but there were some things that I could not take pictures of. But he let me take a picture of what he had, which was it was the original or one of the original Battlestar Galacticas that he was restoring for. I think they were going to put it like in the Smithsonian or something like that. So he was
Oh
actually going in
wow.
there and like repainting it and touching it up and redoing the electronics. But like you were saying, all these like little like fiber optic wires to create little lights everywhere. Like it was cool to see it like in person because it was huge, but at the same time like still small. Like I don't know, I'd say it was probably about like 6 feet wide or 6 feet long and probably about like 4 feet wide. So I mean, it's pretty decent
Yeah.
size. But I say all that because like there's a lot of shots in this movie where like you see the ships up close, and I feel like that's probably James Cameron because I know you and I did this a lot, like where we would just have some of Dad's garage junk, like greebly stuff that look like space stuff. And so, like, if you're
Yeah.
flying by it, it looks like the Death Star. It looks like whatever. And this movie does like a really good job of presenting that in space. And like I said, it's just funny to me because then, like, you see all that and you're like, whoa, cool. And then when they're inside and they're walking around the interior of these space areas, it's like, what is this? Like, this looks like 1930s, like, like barely a painted wall. Like, it's just a painted wall and it just kind of slides open and close. And then they have like I forget what they call them, those electrical, the kind of the static electric thing, the bubble thing that you would touch and it draws electricity.
Yeah. I forgot what those things were called, but yeah, you would touch it and it would like shoot it would contact with your fingers and you could move
and
like a plasma ball.
Yeah. And it's funny because you see a lot of that in this movie, and as kids we were like, like I can buy one of those like at Spencer's Gifts. Like it doesn't look like science fiction.
Six Flags.
Yeah, it's funny how like you can see that contrast break down really fast because it's like, man, it's a cool ship, and then they look at the inside and you're like, oh, that looks that doesn't look so cool. But yeah, it's an interesting adventure of him going to round up the crew of like, or I guess not the crew, but the mercenaries, which is funny because he finds 7. And so they don't even like shy away from the fact that it's like, oh yeah, it's 7, like in 7 Samurai, like,
right. Yeah.
Which were some of your favorite mercenaries that they gather? Because there's a cast of characters for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I liked Cowboy, obviously, George Papard's character, and this was pre A-Team.
Yeah.
So it was cool. I mean, I guess because he was like the guy from Earth.
Yeah.
Like he was listening to he had like country music, whatever, and then he had his little belt buckle with the
whiskey,
what was it,
or
bourbon or whiskey,
whiskey, soda,
and then whiskey, soda, and then ice cubes. I was like, how the hell is you getting? I was like, all right, whatever, and I remembered before we got to before we watched it again, but I remembered the characters in white that were kind of like this the group Nestor,
yeah, we are
the
Nestor.
one that like because
Borg.
I remember because I remembered the scene where they ask about the hot dog when they're prepping for the ground attack, and I remembered the scene of the hot dog where the one in front grabs it and then he kind of puts it over his shoulder. The second one eats it, but then you see all of them chewing, and I was like, man, I don't know why I remember that in my head. And they were like the one ate it. They all of everybody chewed at the same time. And he's like, oh, it has this and this and that and some dioxide. But like he starts breaking it down chemicals, and he's like, and a cowboy he's like, yep, and that's a hot dog.
Yeah,
And they were like, there's no dog in this. It was that shit was funny.
Yeah,
I just remember that. I remember those specifically because they could sense. They could all like if one felt or thought something, they all, thought it. So I remember those specifically.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. For some reason, I remember Cowboy and Nestor. And the guy that Robert Vaughn plays, which is like the kind of
it's like a Han Solo.
Yeah, like he's a much
like
an older Han Solo. I mean, you are right. Like he's literally Han Solo because he talks like Han Solo brags about how he's like, oh, I've got like death warrant on like, or not. I don't know if he says he has death warrant, but I know he says that he's like. He's wanted in several systems, and he's always hanging out in clubs and bars, and he's like a smuggler and this and that. So it's kind of funny that like you can see Roger Corman again just being like, I need one of those, like, and of course he goes to like Robert Vaughn, who was in the Magnificent Seven as one of the seven. So he probably was like, who can I get that is handsome, but within my price range and somebody that I probably know or have connections to, because they're not going to
Yeah,
get a young Harrison Ford, right? And even though Harrison Ford was kind of nobody at the time or not really well known, he wasn't going to find that. He was like, I can go and reach through my network and grab this guy right away. Like,
yeah.
because he was more
No, that
than,
makes sense.
like, he was like somebody that our
he's
parents would have been more or would know than we would. We didn't know who Robert Vaughn
right,
was.
right, and he was a bit aged, so like you could get him cheaper.
Yeah.
But you could be like, hey, remember that role
Yeah.
that you bid back in the 60s?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, so picture in space, same shit.
Yeah.
And so he was like, all right, I'm in.
Yeah, or that, or he would have said, he would have been like, well, I don't know. He's like, well, how much for? How about we say 20,000? He's like, all right, I'm in. Like, I can do that.
I'm free.
I won't be in it that long. I will say though, I do like his ship and like everything about his motif was very like, it felt like I don't know. I would describe his vehicle and the interior of his vehicle like kind of like a Grand National, like a 1980s Grand National. Like it was.
Oh man, yeah.
It was
yeah.
like, you know what I mean, like a leather kind of slick, but like also
deceivingly fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember his character, and I remember him being very like the silent, kind of silent type guy that's like all business and doesn't have time for fun or whatever. And it's kind of funny how extreme they take that in this movie with his character in particular. But I will say, like, watching it again, there's a lot that I don't remember. Like I remembered sort of the green reptilian guy. I don't remember much about him, but I do remember seeing like his face. But like the first interaction where they send him to go to that scientist guy or whatever, and he has like a daughter.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
I don't remember that. And I remember or watching it, I was like, what? Like, I don't remember this. And it's kind of like awkward for a PG kind of movie where it's like, yeah, no, you're going to stay here and you're going to have sex with my daughter and make children.
Yeah, you're going to breed with my daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, I need grandchildren.
We need life forms. Yeah, we need life in this area or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it was all cyborgs except her. And I was like,
what?
This is weird.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
That was a weird start because I was kind of like, okay. Don't remember that, and I probably know why I don't remember that.
We were into ships and stuff, not
romance
breeding.
That
wasn't a.
Honestly, I probably didn't fully understand what they were getting at because they kept kind of like talking around it, and
well, that's right. Yeah, they were kind of talking around it.
He's like, wait, what?
And that's when he's like, wait, you want me to breed with your daughter?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't remember that Dr. Hephaestus at all.
Yeah. I
was like, I don't remember the cyborgs and stuff. I just, I don't know why. I guess because there was more talking involved there.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like, did you notice all the cyborgs looked like the soldiers from Cloud City and Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
It was like a lighter shade of blue, but like their headgear would look kind of similar, and they but it looked very kind of militaristic blue, and I was like, huh.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, he changed the shade of blue, so I guess we'll go with that.
He did not try to. He was no shame, I think, with Roger Corman to say like, hey, space is space and outfits are outfits. Like, you can't say I'm like ripping you off.
There's a galactic U line, and we just get all of our employees' outfits from the U line store.
Yeah,
and get So I was like, okay, we can go with that.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because like between that, I don't remember her or that intro sequence, but also like I don't remember.
The Valkyrie?
Yes.
I don't remember the Valkyrie either.
So it's kind of funny because when I was looking up the list of people that were in this movie, like that character was played by Sybil Danning, And in the 80s, like she was kind of I guess like she was sort of like you could say
She was the B movie girl. I
yeah,
mean,
she really was. And I have a lot of her movies on VHS because it was always her like in some sort of like a like a movie like this, or like a barbarian movie, or like a horror movie,
yeah.
or like the ones that I like, Reformed Schoolgirls, which I think I have that. Then there's like the Warrior Queen, Panther Squad. That's right. She's in Malibu Express. She was in V, the TV series. She was in the
Oh
Fall.
shit.
Yeah, she was in the Fall Guy. I mean, just on and on and on. Like she was everywhere, and yeah, she was kind of like the it B girl of that era, and
Okay. Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
it's kind of not surprising. It is kind of funny how much she stands out in the movie. Like it's very
Yeah.
again Roger Corman of like everybody looks like they're like space people except for her. Like she's like,
Yeah.
how skimpy of an outfit can we get you in? And
Yeah.
we'll space it up by giving you I don't know. There was like I think like I guess her helmet was supposed to be like made of like metal or something, but it looked like glitter. Like I said,
Yeah.
the up-res version of this movie does not help at all when it came to some of that stuff. But I mean, that all said, like the arc of all the characters, they actually did a pretty good job of like the spread of like the types of characters that they find. Like you said, the Nesters are
Oh yeah.
like they're this interesting like type, but also like quirky and funny, but super smart. And so like they did a very
Yeah.
good job of balancing the Seven Samurai of like, well, this guy's like the muscle, this guy's the brains, this person's like the brave, and this one's kind of like the silent, quiet guy who's like stealthy or whatever.
Yeah.
The
It's just funny that like the nesters just joining because they're bored.
yeah
Basically, it's like they all share the same mind, so they're just bored as shit, and so they're like, yeah, so we're gonna come. Yeah, we're good. We don't need payment. We're fine.
yeah
we just want to do something. I'm like, all right.
yeah, and it's funny how they easily justify a lot of the reasoning for everybody. Like the Nesters are like, yeah, that's kind of our thing. And then like Cowboy's like, well, I got really nowhere else to go. Like,
Yeah.
my services of the place I was gonna drop off this stuff at just got destroyed.
Yeah, so I got all these guns, and you can have them. They're already paid for.
Yep.
They're just
It,
but he was like, I'll take care of the ground stuff because I don't I mean, he had a transport. It was a transport ship, right? So he didn't really have an attack capabilities, which
Yeah.
getting all technical. But so yeah, it made sense that they just kind of like, well, I'll lead the ground defense,
Right.
Because my ship doesn't. I don't shoot stuff.
Yeah.
I just.
and like
He just like every time they show him in his ship, he's kind of like boots up, laid back, like, oh, someone help me, I can't.
yeah
He's just. I mean, I don't know. It seems so very, I guess his character in A-Team kind of like
yeah. Well, but it fit the motif, right? Of like he's like it looked like his vehicle looked like a big rig. Like it didn't look
Yeah.
it didn't look fancy.
Yep.
It was like you said, it was a transport.
yeah, it's like a box with a bunch of what did you call it?
Greebles. Yeah.
crap on the ship. Yeah, it was just like it literally looked like not a perfect rectangle, cube shape, whatever, but it was clearly a transport with a bunch of crap
Yeah.
on it. Like the engines and all that stuff. So yeah, he just I guess what do you call it?
He ends up becoming a lone wolf.
Assisting.
I guess. Yeah, it's kind of funny how much they do steal from Star Wars, because I forgot like his whole adventure leads to the planet being destroyed, like with a super weapon, which is, I mean, the Death Star weapon.
The Death Star,
it shoots. It just doesn't look nearly as cool. It's kind of funny because like the more I watched this, I was just like I could see all the techniques of like overexposure or double exposure or how they pulled off these things, because like these are now all like pretty common knowledge if you've like ever worked or have like or if you're attuned to like how the industry or how they did these effects.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, obviously miniatures and whatnot, but when you see like some of these lasers and things kind of getting fired off, you can kind of see the techniques. And that's why I was saying, like, in a lot of ways, you can see like this almost is like a if Industrial Light and Magic had to make a proof of concept film, this is it. Like they were testing techniques for things to go like, oh yeah, we can overlap this and we can put this on there, and if we do this and do that, it'll work. Because like there are scenes where it's super effective, and then there are scenes where it's like, oh yeah, that looks real rough, you know, like especially
Yeah.
like in some of the dog fights, because there was probably only so much they could do, and you can almost tell when things like when the ship's on the screen and moving, you can tell like when the camera's like you can tell when the ship is still and the camera's just being like jiggled around to make it look like it's being moved around, or when they're
Right.
actually
Right.
moving, the camera's still and the ship is moving, because that's what gives you like more control, you know, and you can
Yeah.
do the
Right.
banks and
Right.
stuff
Right.
like that because the camera's fixed, or at least if the camera's not fixed, it's at least like got it's got a movement that's predictable, and so that when you move the ship in it, you're composing the shot instead of like
Right.
saying like,
It's
oh look at that, like that's the
right.
opposite, you know, that's not how it works. Like, but yeah, I liked a lot of that. But going back to like the characters that themselves, what I loved about it, and I think what really pulls through and works, even though like it's got a very like a cheap feel to it, is like the ships that they designed for each like of the mercenaries like actually works really really well. I thought, you know,
Yeah.
like the Nestors had the classic UFO looking ship,
UFO. Yeah, and it's like real bright and
like a
just kind of that.
hamburger, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Hamburger looking thing. Yeah.
But it
No. Yeah. I did like that. I think. What was it?
oh
Damn. What was the reptiles looking?
I don't know if I remember
I
his
forgot
name.
I forgot that character. Man, I had it and I forgot. But I liked his because it had that opening in the front.
Yeah,
And I mean, because I liked that design.
yeah, there was something cool about that design that feels very like I don't know what it is. Like it's just got a cool like a like a hot rod, but not a hot rod. Like still sleek and cool. Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know the word for it, but there's a certain aesthetic to it that I do like about that one in particular. I was gonna say I also liked, or funny enough, I liked the ship that Cowboy uses as not. I guess when he is on the planet and decides to go help in the battle and launches into space, and he has like a little
Oh, right,
like
right.
a little mini ship or something. I'm not exactly sure what that was, but it's got a cool look to it.
Yeah, it looked similar to like like the pictures they've had of like the unit that like landed on the moon.
Yeah.
The because it had four legs, and it looked like it like a contained place for the occupant, and then it had like the four legs on the end. So it looked, but then it flew kind of like with
Yeah.
like to the side. So it was. No, that was an interesting ship. I don't know if that was part of his transport or something, but
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess part of it too is like I liked it because I felt like we could build stuff like that with our Legos or our like it's like we could build something like that with stuff that was like around the house. And I always like trying to
yeah, yeah,
emulate some of what like the ships were, but like I said, I really liked the Robert Vaughn ship, the sort of the sleek sort of almost like a stingray, like a stingray like animal. Like it kind of had that sort of like with the wings spread on it. I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, it's kind of funny because like of the most iconic sort of ships, I think like actually the bad guy ships that were I guess supposed to be their TIE fighters, you know, because they
Yeah.
had a lot of those. I actually kind of like those a little bit because they seem like fodder. Like, I mean, they do the job really well of like, there's lots of those and they're going to blow up a lot because like, they're kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the World War II planes you see in the dog fights that just blow up all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I also really liked some of the interior. Like, I liked the interior of Cowboy Ship as well too. Like, there's something very like homey about it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's,
It looked like an RV-ish.
yeah, yeah. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something about like that sort of look aesthetic I liked. It was funny that the main ship does feel like the Millennium Falcon in a lot of ways. Like
It seemed very roomy.
yeah, it seemed roomy, but it had a Millennium Falcon kind of feel to it, but not exactly. Just kind of similar looks. But I guess to just kind of like finish up the point on the ships is like from I guess like us being young people and being into like model making and stuff like that. I really appreciated like the silhouette changes or this like the very different silhouettes that they gave all the ships because it gave everybody like its own personality that was easy to call out and go like, oh yeah, I know who that is, I know who that is, and that is
Yeah.
because it was kind of funny because when they recoup and they go back to the planet and they're gonna wait for the evil guy to show up, I was like, wait, are they gonna fight on the planet? Because then why is this called Battle Beyond the Stars? Like, wouldn't you be fighting in space if that's the case? And it,
Yeah.
I mean, sure enough, they did, but for a minute there, it kind of had me thinking, like, wait, Seven Samurai takes place like on the planet. I kind of forgot about the ground forces and all that stuff, like when they actually land,
Yeah.
and they start like attacking
yeah.
all that stuff with the their version of a tank or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Sonic tank.
Yeah, that was
I didn't remember that because I remember when they start showing, that's when you start seeing like the blood, from their ears are like bleeding, and I was like, oh, okay, there is blood in this.
Yeah.
Because I didn't remember that.
Yeah, a couple dudes get shot. Like it's kind of funny. The only thing I remember in rewatching that's something that kind of like came back that I remember seeing as a kid was the two little like little people that were like in all white and they weren't nesters. They were like with the reptilian guy. And
yeah, they were with I've seen the name.
I forget. I keep forgetting what it is.
Cayman.
Oh, Cayman. Yeah.
Cayman. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. So he it's funny because like I guess those were like part of his crew, and I remember as a kid being like, because it felt like a GI Joe war, like where you're fighting with all your little characters, and it's like, well, what do these two little guys do? Because they're kind of useless, and it's like, oh well, they don't have ears, so like they're the perfect weapon against a sonic weapon. And for some reason, I was like, oh yeah, I do remember that because I remember them doing the whole like T-pose.
Yeah, they stretched their arms out. Yeah, and it just kind of, I don't know what exactly they did. They just kind of short-circuited the electronics.
They overheat because remember, like they generate energy or something because like every time they got near somebody, they would get really hot, and they were like, "Whoa, what's going on?" It's like, yeah, because that's how they interact or whatever.
Right.
And so
yeah, that's right. They radiate body heat. That's right. So they overheated it.
Yeah,
that's right.
And it's funny because I don't know what ended up happening to them because I know they basically die, I guess. Like, but then they pick them up and say like, oh, that they're going to take them to the
take them to the cooling station or whatever.
Or something to try to like revive them. But yeah, between them and Cowboy and the Robert Vaughn character, like I kind of forgot that some of the characters died. Like, and I remember kind of feeling oh man, like this actually has. There was actually like a weight that I actually kind of felt of like, oh man, that's a bummer. Like that he dies and that they die, and like it actually added something to the movie that probably also explains why we probably liked it as a kid because the stakes were kind of real. Like it wasn't, I mean, I guess
all the heroes survive. Yeah.
Yeah. Like in Star Wars, like obviously like when Obi-Wan dies, you're like, whoa, like that's kind of like a twist. But outside of that, it's like, I don't know, like when, Yellow leader dies, in his Y-wing, it's kind of like, oh well, like
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't know who he was, if he had a family or
yeah,
anything.
or
It was just like,
Porkins,
meh.
or when Porkins dies, you're kind of like, oh, well, of course he was going to die. But yeah, it was kind of interesting because like when those characters died in this movie, I actually kind of was like, I remember feeling as a young person being like, oh yeah, that's right. I remember being bummed out when Cowboy dies or he gets like, shot down or, you know,
Yeah.
and, but at the same time, as an older person watching it and him going out on his terms, it was like, oh man, that's actually kind of cool. Like, he like
Yeah.
last whiskey, it's like, oh, you forgot your soda. He's like, nope, no, I didn't. Because it's like he knows like what he's
Yeah.
getting into.
Yeah.
And so it's funny how they added those things, but as kids, we probably didn't pick up on the message they're trying to get across there. And so
Yeah.
it actually kind of held up and actually like stood the test of time a little bit, right? Of like some of these things that, these sort of Western movie style motifs that they're kind of like trying to put in, it's, oh, this is the last stand at the OK Corral sort of thing or whatever,
Right.
because
Right.
I didn't see Seven Samurai until I was much older. I wasn't even aware of it. And I think also the same with like the Magnificent Seven. I never really saw that, I think, until Dad probably watched it when we were like older in high school or whatever. Cause, Dad liked the Westerns and so like that kind of makes sense. But at the same time, like these sort of tropes of the Western kind of thing didn't really like stick with me. But I did sense them in the rewatch. So
Right.
definitely some kind of cool moments there. But yeah. Any other big points that you would want to call out? I mean, I like John Saxon as the main villain. He I don't know, he pulls it off pretty well. Like kind of just being an evil asshole, I guess.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I liked his character. I know we kind of been jumping around, but I know like at the end when we're they managed to set off they basically blow up Nell and they escape in there.
That's right.
They basically because they allowed it to like get tractor beamed in, but kind of like I guess when that there's a scene where he's got like he's in the command area, right, and he does this like Dr. Evil laugh, and so like everybody kind of laughs with him, and I wrote down I was like I wonder if this character or this scene, this moment was what inspired Mike Myers to have that, and like everybody's kind of like laughing along with him, and I was just, Karen thought I was crazy because I was like laughing at random, stuff, but I was just like, because I was like, that seems like something that like, like years later, it'd be like,
right.
Remember that one scene in that one movie where he's got all his henchmen,
right,
and they're all just kind of like they're kind of all dumb, but they're just gonna laugh because he's laughing, and he's like, like we have them now,
yeah,
and then they all kind of laugh with him, like, right, and it just seems so forced, but I was laughing because I was like, that's so fucking Mike Myers, Dr. Evil.
Yeah, and it's
in that moment,
it's funny,
but it was cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's funny you say that because the more I think about it, like you can definitely tell when Roger Corman was directing or involved because like that is like that's like stuff that he grew up with, right? Because like he grew up in the era even before Dad, like so like he grew up on the classic like space alien, hamburger UFOs with like the aliens that just have like the foam rubber heads and evil characters that are like literally doing the mwah ha 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 ha. Like I'm sure that he thought that was like, oh yeah, like that's how you tell somebody is evil,
still a thing.
and
yeah, they have to have an evil laugh.
Exactly. And I think like as kids looking at black and white movies that he probably grew up on, we're like, wait, what? No, dude, like we want like Darth Vader because Darth Vader's cool because he's got a cool look to him and he says cool things and he doesn't have an evil laugh or whatever, which is why it's kind of funny how Darth Vader got ruined in Revenge of the Sith with the no, like, because it's like
Yeah.
that's not what Darth Vader would do. That's what a 1930s character would do. And so yeah, you can see the clash in here, which is kind of funny that you say that, because I feel like there are other moments where his character feels actually like pretty, like, you know, when they shoot up the townspeople or the people on the planet, and
Yeah.
like he does brutal things, and
He's just like, like he's ruthless.
yeah.
Yeah.
But to your point, yeah, it's like he does all these ruthless things, and then he has like this weird 1930s laugh, and you're like, wait, what? Like maybe he's not as bad as he is, and then it just kind of goes back and forth, and like obviously the visuals don't help, like with the floating head when he's talking to the people below. It's like that felt very 1930s, because it was like he looked like the genie guy from like Pee Wee Herman, the TV show, the guy in the box, with the
Oh shit. Yeah,
the floating head guy. Like it just felt like older than the technology that all this stuff is based on. It's like, you know, and again, Star Wars kind of ruined it for everybody, because like you got to have like the hologram looking effect, and like it's got to look like actual technology, where it's like literally his floating blue head is just there talking to the people, and it's like, oh, that looks
Yeah.
super lame. But yet they can shoot lasers and do all this other stuff. So, but yeah, no, I liked him as a character. Like like his character was interesting. I forgot about the weird arm thing. I don't even remember what happened there. But he's got like one, like,
I remembered that, where like
it's always in a like in a
he
sling.
had it like in a sling or something. Yeah, and then it was just weird that he opted to go with, you know, like to basically a transplant.
Yeah,
With the arm of the
Nestor.
one of the Nestor
Yeah.
characters, and then I was like, but you know, and I got to thinking, I was like, I think that was deliberate, like they sent it with the intent to
try to assassinate him.
because the way they were talking, yeah, basically they were trying to, and I it was funny how because they did the same thing in the beginning when he first meets him, when Shad pulls his gun and they all do this,
Yeah.
and he's like, what the hell, and he can't control himself. And then, and yeah, they basically try an assassination attempt to end the war or whatever, with the same, you know, trying to get him to slit his throat.
Right.
And I remember like that scene was happening. I was like, this isn't how this goes down, right? Because
Right.
there's still a lot of movie left, but this is a great idea.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, that should have worked. I mean, if they had done it maybe a little bit faster, you know, and not give him time to react, but
Yeah, it's funny because
yeah, that was a good attempt.
yeah, it's funny because like I remember they all get really upset because the plan doesn't work, and they were kind of like, well, shit, now what? That was like our grand plan. And I was like, wait, it was? Like, I don't remember that being the grand plan, but apparently it was. Like, yeah, it's just kind of funny because like everything moves pretty rapid at the end, and like you said, like Nell in the ship, which she's great, by the way. Like whoever voices her, and like that whole camaraderie between her and the main guy. What's the main guy's name again?
Shad.
Yeah,
Shad.
Chad. Or
Which it's a weird name. It's like Chad, but with an S.
yeah,
Shad.
Shad, which is kind of weird and hard to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny because like the chemistry between the two of them is like, it's a lot of fun. Like you said, it feels very like Flight of the Navigator kind of feeling, and it works. And so when she does like sort of sacrifice herself at the end, it actually, you're like, oh man, it's a real bummer.
Yeah.
It really like, I mean, honestly, everybody who dies, like you're kind of like, oh man. And I have to say, like, it is very effective for how piecemeal this whole movie is. Like,
Yeah.
you don't spend that much time with the Nestors. You don't spend that much time with really any of the characters or any of the mercenaries. But yet you kind of like, there's something about them and how they wrote them and how they built them up that you actually were like in on the adventure, and you're like, okay, yeah, everyone's got their specialty and let's kind of see where we go. And then like,
Yeah.
even the Sybil Danning character, who's like the whole Valkyrie thing of like, oh, we live to die a glorious death. And
Yes.
so like,
Yeah.
but you kind of like are happy for her when that happens, and I don't know what the glue is that actually makes all this work, but somehow it works. Like
Yeah.
it's very, very strange because I did not think this movie was going to hold up. But I guess it kind of does in the end. And the
Yeah.
funny thing to me is like the last thing I'll say about the movie, anyways, is like when it reaches the end and they get in the escape pod and they're in there, and he basically just kind of says like, "Well, we did it," and then the credits roll. Like, I mean, I was like, "Whoa, what? Like credits? That's it? There's nothing." They
There was no fanfare. They didn't. Yeah.
the people of the people of Akir didn't like hooray, or any, it just
Yeah.
like end credits like that to me
Yeah.
seems like
And scene.
Roger Corman is like, nope, you're already like 10 minutes over and I'm not paying for any more film, so that's it, like
Yeah.
the story's over.
Yeah. I need to let everybody. Yeah. Everybody's got to get home. Yeah. We're cutting everybody off at 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
And we're done. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
bad
We're
enough
not
I'm
paying for extra. We're not paying overtime.
yeah, and again, to Roger Corman's thing, he always wanted movies on a very tight budget and timeline because that would assure that he could get more showings in a theater, because if it runs longer than an hour and a half, that cuts down the number of like 10 o'clock show, 11:30 show, like, you know what I mean, like
Right. Right.
you
Yeah.
maximize
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
number of seats that you can get, and if your movie's like two
Yeah.
and a half hours long, well, you're not going to have as many showings. So I'm a little surprised that this is a little longer by 15 minutes of an hour and a half. So I wonder if this is
Yeah.
like they really had to like talk him into it. But it is just kind of funny how quickly it's like and scene, like it's over. We don't even wrap it up really.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess the last thing I'll say is that I appreciate the people, what is it called? The planet was Akir, and so all of the humans that like the people that live there are called the Akira,
Right.
which is cool to me because they're basically honoring Akira
Yeah.
Kurosawa. So I mean, obviously when we were little, I was like, okay, well, we wouldn't have known that.
Right.
But as I read up again, to do the little I wouldn't call it a deep dive, but maybe like my foot in the water dive.
Yeah.
But yeah, just looking up stuff to kind of look. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because I didn't catch that initially that they were the Akira, and I was like, oh wait, yeah, okay, oh yeah, right, yeah, like no shit, like it's like right in my face, and I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
But, I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, it's like it's like you're blatantly copying shit, but you're acknowledging it and honoring it and doing it in a way where it's like, we're not. I don't know. It just seems like, I guess, within the community of like the filmmakers and all that stuff, that's like the highest form of respect, right?
Yeah.
You want to emulate somebody's stuff. You're not just trying to make a cheap knockoff. It's not. I mean, obviously,
It definitely is.
for the budget, yeah, for the budget and for what was made off of it. I mean, yeah, okay, got it. But not without acknowledging the source material.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I can appreciate that. That was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think it is definitely homage as much as anything else. And, I think Roger Corman was like obviously a scholar of film. I mean, it literally was his entire life. And I know that he appreciated good film. And as much as he appreciated good film, he was like, I appreciated that those people do their things, but that's not what our production house does. Because he launched, I mean, there were just the list of people that worked under Roger Corman, is massive. And those people went on to do like bigger and greater things. And so they really got like an education in filmmaking through Roger Corman. He is I don't think we have, like obviously like George Lucas came along and made Star Wars, but I still don't think like they came and changed the like the level at which the bar of quality that those movies should be. But I don't think that you would have like cinema the way that we think of it without Roger Corman, because he's the one that really was there to, like, he's almost like the I guess you could say the modern day like Blumhouse or modern day A24 or whatever. Like, he was giving people opportunities, but it had to be done within a budget. And he could see how he could sell it, but at the same time he was like, quality is subjective. So if you guys can figure that out, I'm all for it. Because I did read some of the notes that they were showing, or that they had, where like, I guess he fired he fired James Cameron twice, I think, on this movie, because he would come to set and he's like, "What are you doing? Why are you still building these sets?" He's like, "It's good enough." And he's like, "Well, because Cameron was like, well, we got to have this look, it's got to, like, he had a vision for what he wanted this to be." But Corman was like, "Man, fuck your vision. Like, we're on a budget. Like, what I see looks good enough to me. Shoot it, And because they could not come to an agreement, I mean, I've worked with a lot of those people, and I think as you get older, you start to like, you start to find that balance where it's like, I need money and time because this needs to be perfect. But those types of people don't always see the big picture. And I think Corman was a very good big picture guy, because he could see the movie, the product, the marketing, everything, all of it. And he saw like the film as only part of the big picture and not the only thing that's involved in this. So like, there's a balance there, because like, you want to have cool art and cool creativity, but you also need to be able to make money in this industry, because if not, then you can spend all the time noodling, and then someone else is going to make like 5 movies between the time of your one movie. And so, I think I want to say this is the first Corman movie that we've watched thus far, but I think this is a good like anchor point for like more of these movies.
Good launching pad.
Yeah, for we're going to watch more of these Corman movies in the future. But this was a good one. I mean, I have to say, like, I was surprised, which I guess kind of goes to, before we go to whether it's top shelf video or not, we have to figure out who in this film would be an employee at Top Shelf Video, or who we think could be a good employee at Top Shelf Video. I have a thought, and I'm just going to shoot from the hip. If you need a minute to think about who you think.
No, I'm ready. Go ahead.
Okay, you got one?
Go ahead.
You got one?
I think yeah.
Okay. Hopefully I'm not stealing yours. But I was going to go with the Nesters.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, we must be related. Only because I think, you can have them throughout the store, and it's like,
exactly,
the knowledge is there.
Yes.
I mean, they're basically like a Wikipedia or an IMDb before IMDb, so they can kind of like, somebody can be in the horror section, someone can be in the kung fu section. They can kind of talk to you.
They'll know exactly what the rental, how many is available, because they'll be talking with the guy that's behind the counter.
Oh yeah, he can look it up.
Yeah,
and
he can look up everything.
He's like it's available if you want it, that sort of thing. Well,
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to go with Cowboy just for logistical purposes. We can make sure we get our shipments on time.
Oh yeah, he knows his shipping.
He can handle shipments of new releases and get stuff on time. So I would think I would want Cowboy. He probably, he wouldn't be up in the front where the action is.
Right.
He'll be in the ground, in the trenches in the back, handling the defense.
Yeah.
And getting in the shipments. Make sure we've got our UPS stuff coming in. And
well, he also seems like a very cool under pressure type of guy. So like during Black Friday or like our big holiday periods, like when there's a lot of people rushing to the store and people are kind of freaking out at the register, because it's the register's acting up or this or that. Like, he just seems like a cool guy. He's like, no, don't worry about it. I got it. Like, I can, if there's an issue with the inventory, I'll take care of it. Like, he just seems like you need that old veteran type guy that just kind of like has a steady hand under fire. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
he
Yeah.
seemed like that in the battle at the end, where like he didn't really seem to be in a panic, and he just seemed like in control. Like when he's like a very classic military cool guy when he's walking. He's like, all right, I need second squad over there, and first squad, you guys go over there, and third squad, you come with me. Like very commanding
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
of the space, and we could use that in the story,
Yeah.
right? Every now and then, whenever if you and I are not around, he can be like,
Yeah.
okay, you go clean up over
Yeah,
there.
he's like, you get the popcorn going. You go,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He can manage the whoever's on shift.
Right. You need those people. Yeah.
Whether, yeah. He'll keep the Flickers folks in check, and he'll make sure they're not taking anything.
Yeah.
From inventory. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are good. Those are good picks. I can stand by those. Although we will tell the nesters kind of like the Flicker guys. It's only one paycheck. They have to figure out between them.
Yeah, they're gonna have to. Yeah, they have to divvy that up.
We're not paying for 4 nesters plus an extra because they had a 5th. But okay, yeah, that works for me. I can deal with that. So that brings us to whether we think this is a top shelf video or not. I'm pretty sure you went first last time because you picked.
You made me go first last time. So
Yeah, I'll go first on this one. I thought about it, but I probably have to say that this is not a top shelf video, and the reasoning kind of being that I kind of feel that I'd be very curious, like how this movie strikes a chord with other people who maybe aren't our age, or and I say that because the only way I can think of it is like it has a very nostalgic place, but it also, like, now that we're like, I'll be 50 this year, you're already 50, and I feel like when you hear people, directors and people that we admire that are older than us, and they grew up with like, oh, I used to watch, like the original Frankenstein or the original like Dracula, the black and white, and for us, like, those movies didn't really like. I don't feel like at a younger age we didn't appreciate those because we had color, and we had things that were more that were a little bit more advanced. In retrospect, though, as I've gotten older and I have watched the original Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, like, you actually realize like how good those movies are because the story itself is actually much better than the visuals. But we were like the start of Gen X generation of like, we like, we're being fed stuff that to consume with our eyes.
The visual.
Yeah. And then Star Wars was really the thing that like took that over the top. And we were like lucky enough that at our age, we were the perfect age to consume those things. And I feel like this movie falls into the fact that we liked those things, but Star Wars was also coming to at that time. It had not been established, right? And now, like your kids, anybody who's like a millennial, like, they effectively grew up with Star Wars now being part of the culture. And because of that, this movie kind of feels like how you and I would feel about our parents or somebody that's older than us saying that they loved Dracula and Frankenstein because it looks cheap to us. And if you look at this movie, it does look cheap. Like it works though for us, but I don't know if that would work for everybody. And so, like, if people are watching Star Wars or like, Last Starfighter, which, we both agree that was a top shelf, and there's something about that both the visuals and the story works. I feel like in this one, the story kind of works and the visuals are, they're kind of okay. Like I can see somebody super tuning out and they're like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand what you guys see in this. And because of that, I kind of feel like I would suggest this movie, but I don't know if I would say it's a top shelf because, like, if I'm comparing it to Last Starfighter, like Last Starfighter is is like the sum of almost like the height of what we liked as Gen Xers, and this is like the tail end of that. Like it has some of the pieces, but the cheapness of Roger Corman is definitely sticks out, and so it makes the movie for me feel very like, oh, I'm super into this. Wait, what is this? And then I'm like, oh, I'm back into it again. Oh, what is this? So it has like kind of
Yeah.
like a certain flow to it that feels a little weird. But I will say the back half of the movie, a lot of fun because it's just space fighting at the end. Like, you know, so
Yeah, the big battle,
yeah.
the climactic battle with the Star Destroyer, and all the TIE fighters basically. I was also going to go with it's a good recommend if like we're out of copies of Last Starfighter.
Yeah.
but yeah, it was not gonna be a top shelf video.
Yeah.
I thought of the meme, like, I mean, I don't know how much you get on Facebook or whatever, but like when you see like I imagine there's like a meme of a kid going, I want to watch Star Wars in the movie theater, and then they're like, we have Star Wars at home, and it's a Battle Beyond the Stars on TV.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I envision this movie. It's like
that is the perfect way to describe this movie.
I want to go watch Star Wars at the movie theater with my friends, and like you have Star Wars at home.
Yeah.
So
That's no,
that's what this felt like.
You're exactly right. That's exactly what this movie. That's like when you and I would tell mom and dad like, I want a hamburger from McDonald's, and it's like, I can make you a hamburger at home. And it's like, it's not the same. And it's like, of course it's not the same, but like in their eyes, they're like, it's meat, it's cheese, there's some sort of bun on it, whether it's bread or a bun.
It was bread.
It's technically
we never had buns.
Yeah, in their eyes, they're like, that's what makes a burger. And I think like that's the same way
we have all the components.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's how Roger Corman saw this movie of like, it's got spaceships, it's got kids, it's got whatever. Like, what else do you need? I don't understand. Like,
It got a couple hot girls. It's got some aliens.
You guys just don't understand.
We got ships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's almost if we made this a top shelf, it would almost be like us talking down to our customers to go like, you don't know what science fiction is. It's got it all there. Like back in my day, like at that point, now we're the old man on the porch, like yelling at people that they don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't understand Battle Beyond the Stars. But, but I did. I mean, I really had fun watching
it was fun watching it again. But yeah, I guess the last little comparison, it's like, when we had our Star Wars figures and our G.I. Joes, and we needed a couple more G.I. Joes, and they were like, well, we're going to get these Action Force guys. So it's like, it's like they come with the backpack and they come with the guns. They have everything you need.
Right.
It's just, it's not Duke and it's not Roadblock.
Right.
It's
bright colors.
It's it's the soldier number 3, and it and they don't quite bend. The hands aren't quite the same. They don't have the kung fu grip, but somehow the gun manages to stay in place.
Right.
It works. It just fucking works.
Yeah.
So we just make it part of the battle.
Yeah, I feel like that explains a lot of our generation, which is like we could rarely actually get the real thing, and we got whatever was close enough to it. And that's just because it hadn't really been made yet. It wasn't really a thing until like more modern times, right? Where like now it's like you can make so much on your iPhone, or you can do stuff on your relatively average computer, and you can piece together something like that, which is great. I mean, that's a bad thing. It's just really more like I found this movie like a really interesting exercise in like I was saying earlier, like budget constraint and working within tight parameters of things to make something work. So okay, well, I guess we're both on the same page for that. I was thinking about when it comes to merch, it's kind of funny because there's so many like different posters for this that there's not like a consensus on like what I guess you could say the main poster for this is, because like
the official movie trailer or movie poster.
Yeah, because like the one on IMDb looks cool, and if that's the official one, like I think that one's great. But it's kind of funny because, I mean, of course, like anything back then, like the poster, like the ships on the poster look way cooler than they actually looked on the screen, and like, but the characters, they're somewhat close, as far as like the look. It's definitely meant to look more like a Star Wars poster than it is to look like a poster from Battle Beyond the Stars, I think, which is just kind of funny, but that also feels very Roger Corman. So I'm not sure, like, which poster, but I would imagine we would want one of at least some kind of poster in there. I think some of the foreign posters actually look really cool because, like, I guess they had like different people create the like the drawings for the posters and whatnot. But
Okay.
so I would think maybe that. I think I feel like, and I can't remember if we had this with the last Starfighter, but I do feel like we should have the model kit for like the main ship. We should have had a name, but I don't think it does.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, no. I mean, we could just call it Nell, the AI
Yeah,
name.
the Nell. Yeah, the Nell
the,
ship.
the Nell.
I just feel like it's one of those cool ships that you kind of want hanging from your store. You know, like I don't know if it's like
Yeah.
like if it would be a cardboard cutout version of it or something like that. But like we had this at the video crypt where we had like we had the Jackie Chan one, and I think we had some other. We had the Hunt for Red October blow up Red October submarine. I feel like
Oh, nice.
I feel like this would be one of those like maybe it's a blow up of like the Nell ship or something that you
like an
kind of
inflatable.
that you can
Okay.
hang from your ceiling that says like now on video cassette, you know, or whatever.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I think that would be kind of cool.
Okay. I think I would want to, especially since I tinker in 3D printing right now.
Yeah.
I think I would want to make some some night lights, like a nightlight cover of the little short people guy would just kind of block this.
Yeah.
Like blocking with
Blocking
the
the
arms
light,
extended
yeah.
in like.
Well, and that's
and-
their whole
but
thing, right?
just
They illuminate.
make-
Yeah.
Yeah, illuminate. Yeah, so if we were to make like a nightlight cover, you know,
Okay.
because I remember when we were little, we had night lights.
Yeah.
In our room,
Yeah.
or like one was in the bathroom, so that way we could at night we could kind of make our way to the
Yeah.
bathroom. So yeah, I think I would want to like 3D print like I don't know, I think I've got some like a transparent yellow, maybe a white. Well, yeah, white would be better, or like a clear, so that way it would illuminate and you'd have the little person just kind
Yeah.
of lighting up your bathroom or your hallway.
Yeah, it's kind
So
of
I think I could go with something like that.
it's kind of funny thinking about those two guys. I forget what their names were, but it's funny how, like, again, in a very Roger Corman way of like, how can we make this look science fiction-y? It's funny because I remember when I was working in the Silicon Valley with some friends on some augmented reality technology down there. The one thing that we were using to make that work was the retroreflective material, which that's the stuff that you wear like if you're working on the street, or if you're working construction, or policemen will wear it when they're doing traffic. It's like usually in yellow.
Oh yeah.
It's highly reflective, and it's reflective even during the day. Like if light hits it, it'll just bounce the light right back. It has something to do with the
Yeah.
way the beads are set up in that material. But the two little alien dudes, their whole outfits are made of that stuff, because that's why they look like they're illuminating. It's because they were putting light on them, and so
Yeah.
it reflects back to the camera, and it looks like they're illuminated, but all it really is just the light bouncing back from their whole outfit is made of that retroreflective material. That's like I noticed that when we were going there, because I was like, I've seen so much of that stuff, and I know how it works now. That was like part of the augmented reality stuff that I was looking at, because basically like we were projecting, like you basically had a projector in your glasses that would project onto a reflective surface, and so it would bounce back to you, and you would see like the image very clearly. And so that would have, if the tech had ever come out, it would have been great for D&D and stuff like that, because like you'd be able to put down a flat surface, but it would look three-dimensional to you, because that image is bouncing back to you that's being shot from your glasses to the surface and back. So I've seen
wow.
I've seen a ton of that stuff. And so when I saw it on these guys, I was like, oh, I know exactly what that is. So I do like that idea of those guys. I wanted to say, I don't know if we can have like, you know, I know we're going to have a popcorn machine. I feel like we can have like one of those hot dog machines in there, like the ones that have like the rotating things, but it needs to be like called like Battle Beyond the Dogs or something, because like that scene that you were talking about with the nesters, like for whatever reason that did resonate with me as well too. I remember seeing that scene going like, I remember as a kid thinking about that scene a lot because like it's like, oh, there's an alien eating a hot dog, and I like hot dogs. So I feel like we need to have like some sort of homage to that. So I don't know if like the hot dog machine is sort of like it's white like the Nestor like group or whatever or something along those lines, you know, with like the hot dog machine being all illuminated white or something. But like
Right.
I think on the front it should say "Battle Beyond the Dogs," you know, or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we can have like a hot dog
I'd go
machine.
with that.
What else? Is there anything else? I guess that we can. Oh, well, there's one thing we definitely have to give, but it's a premium thing, and you were talking about it earlier. We'd maybe for premium customers, you can buy the cowboy belt. Because I mean,
Oh yeah, shit.
I forgot about that thing, and I thought that was like awesome. Like I remember thinking as a kid, I was like, man, how cool would it be to have like soda and ice and like I mean I didn't know
Yeah,
I
on a belt. Yeah.
yeah I didn't really know what whiskey was, but nowadays yeah I'd totally have like a thing of whiskey if I could. I always thought that was kind of cool. So yeah, to get that to work and to have that with fresh ice, he had like big cubed ice too that came out of it. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was yeah. Yeah, they didn't try to figure out the physics of that or the science behind that. It was just, you know,
No.
I mean, I don't know if it was really like a belt buckle. It just looked like a box
Yeah.
where the belt buckle would be, and it was just like, you know, three buttons on it, you know,
Yeah.
for the whiskey, the Coke, and the
And the ice.
and the ice.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we could do
Yeah,
that.
that'd be like a limited edition. That'd be a limited edition run for sure.
Yeah. A very premier members that have been around for a while. But yeah, I feel like that covers most of the merch. Oh, and I would say as far as like regards of the format, I think this actually would be good to have like on VHS if some people want to watch it. I think the high quality of it does take a little bit away from it. I think it would probably play better on VHS or DVD. I don't know if like
Right.
I don't know if it really helps to have it in a high quality format because I feel like that definitely exposes a lot of the rough edges,
Yeah.
of what they were learning and what they were kind of doing during that time period of 1980. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, unless there was some kind of, you know, like behind the scenes stuff or some director or, you know, if there's like some special edition where like Roger Corman talks
yeah, that's true.
like, you know, like a director's cut with talking, you know, about this particular scene or how they made this look the way it did or, you know, or hell, even if James Cameron
Yeah.
narrated bonus stuff. I mean, that would make like a DVD or a digital version. If it had those bonus things, then maybe
Yeah.
that would make up for what you're gonna, you know, for what it's gonna do to the practical effects aspect. But yeah, other than that, this definitely needs to. If I'm gonna recommend this to somebody, it's gonna be on a VHS.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it definitely
It's
helps.
this is the way to go for this movie.
Yeah, I would say yeah, it's kind of funny. I would say like this is like when you sometimes you're like you just need to listen to it on vinyl. It's just better because it's the old and crackly sound, like it just adds
Yeah,
depth to it,
Yeah.
and this needs that depth because I mean it looked good. I mean there were some scenes that really really look good in high resolution, and then there are other scenes where it's like eesh, that's rough. But at the same time, for that time frame, we probably saw that as like, man, that's as good as Star Wars. Like, we probably believed our parents or anybody that was saying like, it's all the same. Like, I don't see the difference.
Yeah.
And we were
I
developing that taste.
yeah, I would say it looked better than the $2 million budget that it had,
Yep.
but it didn't look as good as Star Wars.
Right. Exactly.
So
Which was
yeah, I mean,
groundbreaking, right? Yeah.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, this is, as much as I mean, it may sound, for those listening, it may sound like we're kind of, dogging the movie, but it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. I mean, I would watch it again.
I would.
This will be one that I like, especially since I found it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like when I'm over here, when I'm painting my minis, I know we're not a visual podcast, but like behind me is my workstation for my minis. So when sometimes I'll have YouTube on, and I'm either listening to Critical Role episodes, or got music playing, or I got a movie playing, and this might go into the rotation because it's easily accessible. It's on YouTube. I can do with the ads. I'm past that. I mean, it's like it's like growing up. We grew up with commercials, so everything digital is back to commercial bullshit. So it's whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, this will probably be in my rotation of since it's easily accessible. I'll just I'll probably put it on my like it on YouTube, so that way it'll stay in my liked history, and then I'll throw it on again for sure.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, and I would agree. Like, I think if I had some movie nerd friends over, this is like a good Saturday afternoon primer for some other science fiction. I think it's kind of good sometimes to revisit some of these foundational movies that helped establish what this type of science fiction would be, because it's I guess you could say the continuation of the movement of a realistic space instead of what we saw in the 50s and 60s of the hamburger ship UFOs and the bubblehead astronauts, or that era of space was
where the Martian was a human just painted green with some little dangly things on there. Yeah. This is the next.
This is the evolution of
next
that.
level.
Yeah.
Evolution's a much better word. Yeah.
Well, cool.
It was good. It was good to revisit.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I guess we're always looking for feedback. So if you have any comments, or if you want to reach out to us, you can always email us at topshelfvideopodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on all the social places like Instagram and Blue Sky, and probably the best place is to go to topshelfvideo.com, because that will link you to. We have the episodes posted there, but you can always find us on wherever I guess you're getting podcasts, so Spotify, Apple, YouTube, whatever. But our website will direct you there. And so, feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear what you think about this movie, or if there are movies that resonate with you from that era that maybe we missed and that we didn't get to see as far as science fiction goes. But yeah, we should probably get things squared away for a full day of work ahead of us. But this is a good walk down memory lane on this one. But I think we had a few more of these sort of core memory type movies lined up for later this year. So cool.
Yep.
Well, all right. If you want to
good times.
If you want to get stuff set up in the front, I'll go and get some of the things set up in the back. I know there's some boxes to be sorted through, and a couple of I know we got a couple of shipments of a couple of things, so I have to kind of get all that sorted up. But then we'll be ready to.
Yeah, we don't have Cowboy yet, so
we're still on our own.
Got to handle the logistics on our own.
Yep. Well, all right. Then I guess we will catch everybody at the next work shift, and we'll see you guys then.
All right. See ya.